We are brewed by Starbucks, by the way. Our relationship with Starbucks is, of course, more than just being sponsored by the coffee company. Since 2009, Morning Joe and Starbucks have embarked in a number of projects focusing on giving back to the community, including our big education town hall in Tampa, Florida. Remember that? It was fun. And the Brewing Together Day of service at John McDonough High School in New Orleans. That was a wonderful day. The success of those broadcasts has inspired us to take the relationship to the next level. Joining us now, Starbucks President and CEO Howard Schultz, here to announce our exciting new plans. Also at the table, NBC News' Tom Brokaw back with us. Tom, good to have you on board. So let's lay out this new relationship. We're going to take it to the next level, as I said. Let's explain that, Howard. We'll put the full screen up.
Okay.
It involves our commitment to education, and explain to us, first of all, what we hope to do in terms of highlighting change makers and maybe 4 times a year at this point going live to different schools across the country.
Well, I'm very excited about the partnership and have been since the very beginning. But I think the real question is, how can we take the assets of MSNBC and Starbucks and shine a light on people who are doing wonderful work around education? And something happened to me a couple of years ago where I got a phone call, which I was shocked by, and says, Howard, your high school in Brooklyn, New York is closing. I said, that's impossible. So Canarsie High School closes because their dropout rate was close to 30%. And I went to the high school, gave the graduation speech, the last one, and began to do a little bit of research and found out that almost $300 billion over the life of that graduation class will be impacted because of lost wages, lost taxes, and lost productivity in America as a result of high school dropouts. And, you know, this is not a virus. This is a disease that's going on in America. So speaking to Phil Griffin and MSNBC and you and Joe and Willie and thinking about what we could do, I think we have an opportunity to leverage all of the things that we can do together, you know, not to put a logo on the screen, but to do something that is significant and try and make a change. So, as you said, once a month, we'll be trying throughout the United States to really demonstrate that there are people making a significant difference. And I want to be agnostic. It's not about private schools, charter schools, public schools. It's about the fact that we've got an ongoing problem, an epidemic in America. And then once a quarter, you know, I want to, you know, with your help, broadcast in either a school or a gymnasium or somewhere in America where we can demonstrate that people are making a difference and we can do something that is quite significant.
I think I speak for all of us with all the places we've gone with this show, Willie, John McDonough High School, that day, that broadcast, and everything we were able to do in 3 hours' time stands out as one of the highlights of the opportunity to work on this show.
Of the 4 years we've been on the show, that was certainly one of the highlights. And we've been back there revisiting, making sure the progress is going as planned. They got the new floor in for the basketball court, among many other things at John McDonough in New Orleans. And you said it, Howard, we always, from the beginning when we got together with Starbucks, wanted this to be more than a Starbucks logo next to Morning Joe. That doesn't get you anywhere. So what do we do with it? So talk about a little bit why you're willing to put the name of Starbucks, the reputation of Starbucks forward with Morning Joe to go forward on some of this.
Well, I think if you look at the issues facing America today, whether it's health care or education, you look at what's going on in Wisconsin and Ohio, it's clear that as we go forward, the municipalities of America are not going to be able to sustain the level of giving that they've done in the past. It just isn't going to happen. And I think although it's not positive sometimes for Wall Street to hear this, I think corporations need to do more than they've done in the past. And I think we want to create a situation where we can not only make a profit, but also have a social conscience. MSNBC does not get enough credit for the fact that they feel exactly the same way. I think this partnership is about like-minded values coming together to help those people who have been left behind. There's no reason why we should accept the graduation rate, the truancy, the dropout rate. It's not sustainable, and America is facing a collision course with time. It is that serious.
I've been looking into this a lot, Howard, and obviously I commend Starbucks for what it's doing. And there's a new corporate awareness across the country, both because of a social consciousness and also because in this modern age of technology, we need in our economy educated people. Yeah. You just can't have a strong back and a good pair of hands and good work boots anymore and go to work out there. So since Cincinnati Bell, for example, is involved in a high school. There's a wonderful guy in Atlanta that I talked about here by the name of Tom Cousins, who's got purpose-built communities. He's now partnered with Warren Buffett. And across the country, corporations are beginning to take a stake in American education. I think the most heartening thing that I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years is there is now an awareness that something has to be done, and it's everyone in. It's not just charter schools or private schools or parochial schools. Everybody has to get involved in it in some fashion, and it'll get sorted out over the time. There's a little rivalry that is going on, but by and large, I think this is going to help a lot.
And actually, you talk about everybody has to get involved. There's a chance for everybody to get involved with what we're doing through Donors Choose. Can you explain that component?
There's a wonderful organization called Donors Choose, and the reason this is such a powerful organization is it's not an opportunity just to give money. Donors Choose will allow the consumer to direct the funds specifically to a school or any public education institution, and then you can actually get involved and direct the money to a classroom or a specific cause. So between Starbucks and MSNBC, we're going to be handing out Donors Choose cards with money loaded on the card, and then the consumer can actually direct those funds. But we're going to, again, raise the awareness about Donors Choose in America. This is a phenomenal organization that I think is doing exceptional work.
You know, you mentioned Wall Street, you mentioned dropouts, you mentioned your high school, Canarsie, closing. You've got a book out about all of this, about your life and about your social values. But explain to us, if you could, how you can take the fact that when a school closes, when kids drop out of school, when the truancy level is so high, that this is part of the gross national product too, the imagination and creativity we're losing for these kids who just disappear. How do you go to Wall Street and explain to CEOs who say, hey, I got my shareholders, that's who I'm responsible for, not these kids who are dropping out. How do you get Wall Street to go along with these sorts of things?
Well, I think Tom said something very interesting and I think very positive, and I think most people today have a level of awareness that's much greater than ever before about the fact that this is a problem that we must embrace and try and fix. It's not a Wall Street issue. I think people recognize that we're not going to be able to attract and build talent and be competitive. I was in China about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I think I told you this story when we last met. And at 7:30 in the morning, I get out of my hotel in Beijing. It's freezing cold outside. And there's young kids snaked around a corner as if it was a rock concert. But it's 7:30 in the morning. And I get out of the car. I said, I need to understand what is going on here. And our Chinese partner and I walk out to the line. It's hundreds of kids, 7:30 in the morning, freezing cold. And we find out they are online to take a higher education test to qualify for a school. And the rhetorical question is, how many times have you seen anything like that in America? It doesn't exist anymore. So I think people realize that for us to be competitive as a society, we must change what is going on. It's not about Wall Street. It's about all of us.
Why Morning Joe? Why? I mean, Willie and I are here. What kind of role models are we?
Seriously?
Why did you select us?
You could do a little better. I mean, right?
Well, I think as we look at Morning Joe, the audience you have in terms of opinion leaders and influencers, we have to start by making a difference, raising awareness, and asking people to get engaged and involved. This is not about an announcement. This is about the beginning of us together being a catalyst for change.
All right.
It's there is no more critical component. Education, I've been saying, is the currency, the coin of the future, and everything you do right straight down through, from the economy, the culture, how we interact with our friends and our enemies overseas, for that matter.
The perfect way of saying it.
Yeah, it really is, and we need to get more of those coins in the bank.
We're going to
sum up, Willie?
Continue the conversation after the break. We just want to remind viewers what we're going to do is once a month going forward here, we're going to have a change maker in the field of education. 4 times a year, every quarter, we're going to go to a different school around the country and help pitch in to make a difference. And you can get involved by going to donorschoose.org.